Welcome back to Untested Builds, the series where we take your favorite characters and plop them right into Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Today we've got a viewer requested build. If you want to see a specific character feature here, all you have to do is drop a suggestion in the comments below. They get put into a poll on the Patreon, and the winners get featured here. That's what Kiel did when they requested I cover a Sister of Battle from Warhammer 40k. They even went the extra mile by joining the Patreon and voting for their pick. Thank you, Kiel. It's people like you who motivate me to keep up this massive undertaking. The setting of the tabletop war game Warhammer 40k is a far future Milky Way galaxy where humanity has found itself spread across the stars with stagnant technology, fighting endless wars on all sides from threats within and without, mundane and esoteric. The Sisters of Battle, or Adeptus Sororitas in High Gothic, are the militant arm of the Ecclesiarchy, the governing body of the only official religion of the Imperium of Man. This entirely female army is comprised of warriors completely dedicated to worship of the Emperor of Mankind. They are trained to peak human condition to take on whatever enemies the church points them towards. Think the nuns with guns stereotype, but take that to the most extreme to match the rest of the setting. For our goals for this build, we need some power armor. This is the best piece of PPE a human can wear in the 40th millennium, but it's not just for Space Marines. Sisters can wear modified versions, but will be a bit more cumbersome while still shrugging off all but the most violent assaults. Sisters also get bolters. Gee, it's almost as if Games Workshop wanted to give us female Space Marines since the very beginnings of the game. Wonder why they can't just commit to the idea. Anyway, bolters are basically pistols. If pistols shot rocket-propelled grenades that detonated once inside the target. You know, standard issue pistol. Wait, here's something Space Marines don't have. Righteous zeal, so strong that it manifests itself as supernatural ability, fatal wounds sealing shut, and destructive power firing from their fingertips. Wait, Space Marines get that stuff too? Okay, but can they become literal immortal angels? Didn't think so. We're gonna kick this build off as a human. Last I checked, the Sisterhood is just bog standard humans. No abhuman strains or genetic augmentation here. Versatile humans gain 2 ability boosts while taking dexterity and charisma. They also get an extra general feat at level 1. Pilgrim's Token gives you with a physical reminder of your faith and duty. With this, you automatically win any ties you may have on initiative rolls with an enemy. We'll take the Acolyte background. Most sisters are orphans raised in monasteries after all, but honestly any background can make sense thematically. We'll take more boosts to wisdom and dexterity, training in religion, and the scribing lore skills. Not sure if the pen is still mightier than the sword in Warhammer 40k, but I'm sure Gilliman and Lorgar might disagree with me on that. We also get the Student of the Canon feat for free, and now when we critically fail a religion check to decipher writing or recall knowledge, we only get a regular failure instead, and if we will roll religion from our own faith, we get 1 degree of success higher instead. For our ancestry feat, we'll take natural ambition for an extra level 1 class feat. Just be sure to remind me on the next panel. As much as I wanted to go cleric here, I just can't justify Sister of Battle getting access to 9 levels of spells. But luckily Champion gives us some sweet divine capabilities while keeping us a true martial class like a sister should be. Level 1 champions gain a boost to either strength or dexterity, access to the shield block reaction, not that it matters because sisters don't use shields, don't quote me on that though, and the deific weapon to give our deity's weapon of choice a larger damage die. For the rest of our features, we have to choose a champion's code and cause. We're going with Tenets of Good and the Paladin cause. I edited out a 10-minute tangent to justify this, but ask me in the comments if you want my opinions on the alignment system and reasons to go lawful good on a Sister of Battle specifically. Tenets of Good gives us access to the Lay on Hands devotion spell. With this, you can restore 6 HP to living creatures and grant a +2 bonus to AC for 1 round. Or you can deal 1d6 point of positive damage to an undead creature and give them a -2 penalty to AC for 1 round if they fail a fortitude save. Paladins specifically gain the Retributive Strike reaction. If an enemy within 15 feet damages an ally also within 15 feet, we can have that ally gain resistance to all damage equal to our level +2, and we make a strike against the enemy if they are within reach. And they are almost always will be since we're taking the ranged reprisal class feat. With this, we can use a ranged weapon with our Retributive Strike instead. We get another level 1 class feat, thanks for reminding me. Deity's Domain gives us the initial domain spell for one of our deity's domains. We're taking Saren Ray's Fire Domain for some hand flamer action with the Fire Ray Domain spell. This is a spell attack that deals 2d6 fire damage to a target within 60 feet. On a crit, we also deal 1d4 persistent fire damage. For skill training, we'll take Acrobatics, Diplomacy, Medicine, and Society. For ability scores, we'll boost Dexterity, Constitution, Wisdom, and Charisma. At level 2, we'll get a little better than the usual first aid training with Battle Medicine. This allows us to make a medicine check similar to treat wounds to restore an amount of HP to a creature even during combat. Once we do this, the target becomes immune to further attempts for 1 day. The Vengeful Oath class feat allows us to use our Lay on Hands spell to damage a living creature as well, as long as we witness it harming an innocent or an ally. Whatever an innocent is in the 41st millennium, that is. Level 3 champions gain a Divine Ally to upgrade a piece of our gear during our daily preparations. We'll select the Blade to gain a critical specialization effects on whatever weapon we choose. We can also select either Disrupting, Ghost Touch, Returning, or Shifting, and have that weapon gain the effect as if they had the corresponding property rune. We'll use our skill increase for Expert Diplomacy. The Fleet feat helps us overcome the minus 10-foot penalty we take from full plate armor by increasing our speed by 5 feet. Space Marines may know no fear, but to those poor guardsmen, you're a sight for sore eyes. No cause for alarm. Let's just make a diplomacy check to reduce the frightened condition of creatures within a 10-foot emanation of you. But how are you going to help anybody when you're scared yourself? Or of courage reduces the value of your frightened condition by 1 anytime you become frightened. Also, at the end of the turn, when your frightened condition would be reduced, you will also reduce the frightened condition of your allies within 15 feet by 1 as well. Level 5 champions gain weapon expertise for expert proficiency in simple and martial weapons. The unconventional weaponry ancestry feat lets us treat an advanced weapon of our choice as martial for the purposes of determining proficiency. The Sawtooth Saber stands in for the signature chainsword, and unlike a traditional sword, we hit on our dexterity modifier rather than our strength, which is a bit lacking. We use our skill increase for expert religion and use our ability boost for dexterity, constitution, wisdom, and charisma. We'll pick up another devotion spell with Litany Against Wrath. This forces a will save on an evil creature, or on normal successes they'll take 3d6 good damage the next time they harm a good creature this round. On a normal failure they'll take 3d6 on every instance of damage they deal this round, and on a critical failure they'll still take the damage on every damaging action, but they are also enfeebled too. You'll need to be able to coerce the best out of the less faithful citizens of the Imperium too. Exhort the Faithful lets you use your religion skill to request or for a coerce another follower of our faith. If we do so, we also gain a +2 circumstance bonus on this check. Level 7 champions gain armor expertise for expert proficiency in all armor types. We also get the armor specialization effects for medium and heavy armor. For full plate, we'll gain slashing resistance equal to 2 plus the value of the armor potency rune we currently have equipped. We also get weapon specialization for an additional flat 2 damage on our attacks with our sword or crossbow. We use our skill increase for master proficiency in religion. Battle Prayer lets you pray the chaos away by attempting a religion check against the will save of a target within 30 feet. If we succeed, they take our choice of 1d6 good or lawful damage and they become immune to Battle Prayer for 1 day. On a crit, we double the damage, and if we're a legendary in religion, we triple the damage. At level 8, we'll pick up the Advanced Domain spell from Sarenrae's Fire Domain. Flame Barrier allows us or an ally within 30 feet to gain fire resistance 15 as a reaction to any effect that would deal fire damage. Sacred Defense lets us gain some temporary hit points once per hour by attempting a religion check. On a success, we gain 5 HP for 1 minute, and on a crit, we gain 10 HP instead. Level 9 champions gain expert proficiency in our class DC and our divine spell attack rolls. Juggernaut for master fortitude saves and critical success results on regular successes. Lightning reflexes for expert reflex saves, and our retributive strike gets an upgrade with divine smite. Now we also deal persistent good damage on our retributive strikes equal to our charisma modifier. We'll take our skill increase for intimidation training. We've got the Emperor's protection on our side. We've got heavy armor. We've got the flamers. Now we need to get our bolters in order. Multi-talented gives us access to a multi-class dedication feat for free. The ranger dedication gives us some survival training, and we can now perform the hunt prey action. With this, we can spend an action to designate a creature as our prey. If we do, we gain a +2 circumstance bonus to perception checks to seek the target or survival checks to track it. We also don't take a penalty for making a ranged attack in our second range increment against our prey. We're going to be using our religion skill in basically every encounter, whether it's social or combat. So we'll pick up assurance in religion so we can forego the die roll for religion check in favor of a +10 bonus to the check instead. Our lay on hands gets a bit better with resilient touch. Now, whenever we are successful at restoring hit points of an ally using our lay on hands, that ally also gains a +1 status bonus to saving throws until the end of their next turn. For our ability boost, we'll increase dexterity, constitution, wisdom, and charisma. Level 11 paladins gain EXALT. Now, whenever we use our retributive strike, each ally within 15 feet in reach of an enemy can use their reaction to strike that enemy on a -5 penalty. Alertness for expert perception, and divine will for master will saves and critical success results on regular successes. We'll use our skill increase for master diplomacy and take a home in every port. With this, we can find a place for our party to stay free of charge for 1 night. They'll even give us a day's rations out of the kindness of their heart. Normally, you'll probably be staying in a monastery or a temple as a sister, but if you find yourself on some backwater world, I'm sure the locals will be more than welcoming once you remind them who their god is. At level 12, we'll pick up the Hunter's Aim feat for a +2 circumstance bonus and to ignore the concealed condition on a ranged attack roll against our hunted prey. Evangelize lets us make a non-believer hurt themselves in confusion. We can roll Diplomacy against a target's will DC to give that target of a different religion the Stupefy condition for 1 round. On a crit, they get Stupefied 2 instead. If they still aren't convinced to come to our side, then a crossbow bolt to the face is the only option left, right? Level 13 champions gain Armor Mastery for Master Proficiency in all armor types, and Weapon Mastery for Master Proficiency in simple and martial weapons. We'll increase our Intimidation to Expert Proficiency. Not everything in your arsenal is a symbol of your faith or sci-fi tech. Sometimes what's needed in the 42nd millennium is good old-fashioned human grit. Bounce Back allows us to skip increasing our wounded condition once per day when we recover from our dying condition. Everyone knows the sororitas get stuff done, so planetary governors are a little more prepared when the shameless requests start coming in. Now the DC from numerous outrageous favors and requests gets reduced by 2 and we can no longer critically fail. Running Reload lets us reload our crossbow and step, stride, or sneak in a single action. Heavy Armor has quite the move speed penalty, so the more movement we can squeeze out of our turns, the better. Level 15 champions gain greater weapon specialization to increase our flat damage on our Master Proficiency weapons from 3 to 6. We use our skill increase for Master Intimidation. The Toughness feat gives us a bonus to our max HP equal to our level. We'll also recover from dying at 9 plus our dying condition value instead of 10 plus. For ability scores, we'll boost Dexterity, Constitution, Wisdom, and Charisma. Enforced Oath lets us spend an action to designate an evil creature for a +1 status bonus to AC and saves against attacks from that creature, and a +1 status bonus on attacks against that creature. The best part is that since this is a status bonus, this can stack with the circumstance bonus to attacks from our Hunter's Aim if the target also happens to be our hunted prey. This comes back at a drawback, however. Since we can only use our oath on a 1 creature at a time, we get a -1 penalty to AC and on attack rolls against other creatures while this is up. We couldn't build a 40k character without the Battlecry feat. This allows us to attempt to demoralize an observed creature as a free action whenever we roll initiative. I'm a Chaos fanboy, so I'm no expert, but I'm sure some variation of For the Emperor will work here. Level 17 champions finally put the power in Power Armor with Legendary Armor for Legendary Proficiency in all armor types. We also get Champion Mastery for Masterclass DC and spell attack rolls. We'll use our skill increase for Legendary Religion and take the Aerialist Ancestry feat. Don't worry about this just yet, we're saving it for later. Have a little faith. Okay, I guess it wasn't that much of a test of faith. Celestial Form turns us into a Living Saint, allows us to take on Celestial Form, gaining Dark Vision and a fly speed equal to our movement speed. Thanks to Aerialist, we gain a +2 circumstance bonus to acrobatics checks to maneuver in flight and a +5 foot bonus to move speed while in flight. Being a Living Saint isn't just about glowing eyes and wings though. Divine Guidance lets us literally call upon the Emperor, or our GM, who's ever is willing to answer, for guidance on our campaign, assuming we can pass the DC of the religion check that is. Level 19 champions gain the Hero's Defiance Devotion spell for even more Living Saint shenanigans. As a free action, triggered by an attack that will reduce our HP to 0, we gain 10d4 plus 20 hit points before that damage is applied, and so long as our HP remains above 0, we don't get knocked down or fall unconscious like normal, and we can continue to fight. Unfortunately, we can only use this once per refocus, and never against effects that will completely destroy our bodies or kill us in a way that doesn't deal damage. Perpetuals are rare after all, or extinct if certain sources are to be believed. We'll use our skill increase for Legendary Intimidation and pick up Terrifying Resistance. With this, we'll gain a +1 circumstance bonus to saving throws against the spells of creatures we've demoralized in the last 24 hours. Now that you've spent a couple levels as a confirmed Living Saint, don't be surprised when common citizens and nobles alike are asking for your blessing. Sanctify Water allows you to imbue a small container of water with divine energies, turning it into holy water. For our capstone ability, Aura of Unbreakable Virtue gives all evil creatures within 15 feet of us a -1 status penalty to checks and DCs that target our allies or ourselves. The penalty increases to -2 if those creatures also happen to be the creatures we have taken our oath against. For our final ability boost, we'll increase Strength, Dexterity, Wisdom, and Charisma. Now that we're level 20, let's examine the pros and cons of our build. We've finally done it. The unarmored streak is over. Legendary Armor Proficiency with actual good armor. 47 AC that can jump up to 50 under certain conditions, and over 300 HP to back it up means we'll be in the fight as long as our faith holds strong. And boy, oh boy, is our faith ever strong. This is my first time going full bore on the religion skill, and I didn't realize how much stuff we get access to both in and out of combat. We basically get 2 spell-like abilities for free every fight. Also, flying ranged weapon users are just unfair, and as a GM, I cry every time I design an encounter without taking flying PCs into account. For cons, I am once again here to remind you that crossbows are subpar. Paizo, please give us a martial or advanced ranged weapon that we can fire one-handed. My audience keeps requesting characters who use guns, and if I have to roll up another crossbow user, I'm gonna cry. We also left our black carapace back at the monastery. We simply don't have the strength there to effectively use our heavy armor. This isn't a death sentence like it is in 1E though. We don't really specialize in skills that will get an armor penalty, and we did take that fleet to mitigate some of the speed penalty, and at later levels we can just fly. But power armor comes at a price if you aren't made for it. But don't complain too much, that armor is a blessing from the God Emperor after all, and you don't want to end up as a repentia. Thanks for watching. If you're still here, we make a new build every week. If this is your first time here, or if you've been lurking for a while, why not subscribe to the channel? And if you're feeling really generous, you might even give this video a like too. See ya.